Live from the Mighty Veedverks Airship, I'm Travis Lippert, CEO of Verks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks, and I'm sitting here with Julie Richardson.
Hi, everybody.
And we have with us today Michael Scherr.
Hi, y'all.
Is a very interesting person to talk to.
Thank you. As for you guys.
Yeah, it took us forever to get out of the back room because we just didn't want to break away from the conversation and come out here and share it with everybody.
So Michael's been in the cannabis industry for over a decade, and very interesting person to talk to. In 2008, he became one of the first 10,000 patients in Colorado and began growing for himself and eventually cultivating boutique strains for
local dispensaries.
So I'm still working on this audio. Thanks for joining, by the way. You're an inventor, and that's like one of the most interesting things. Also, former rock star.
Wannabe.
Rock star wannabe, but better than most of us make it, and actually phenomenal musician. Like I watched him playing.
Yeah.
Thank you. My past life.
Well, music's something that's,
Exactly.
if you're a musician, it's in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
You turn to it for comfort and inspiration.
It's good therapy.
Yes,
That
it's
and yoga
very
you're
good.
talking about,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Have you guys heard about? There's a restaurant I think in Massachusetts that's going to get lobsters high before they boil them.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, I've seen it in my Facebook feed like 4 times.
I've not.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually, like anybody who's curious about, cannabis and health should do, I went to Google and I Googled PubMed. And then I went to PubMed and I searched for lobster and cannabinoids. I searched for lobster endocannabinoid. And it came up with, they've actually researched it, and lobsters have, it appears to be some kind of endocannabinoid system.
Wow.
But I don't, but what I'm thinking is they're going to find out is that they have exocannabinoid systems. Know what I'm talking about?
Funny.
Crustacean jokes.
Mm-hmm. But it's fascinating, though, so why not just feed it to them? Like feed them large amounts of hemp and highly nutritious.
Get with it, New England.
seeds.
Start feeding. I'll tell you one reason why is because hemp is not approved for animal feed yet.
Interesting. Well, in Maine, there's you can extract obviously the chitin or the other chemicals, but there's apparently an antioxidant that is one of the more high in antioxidants, and it comes from the shells. So they're using similar machines, supercritical CO2 machines, similar we use for our extracts,
Right.
To extract this antioxidant. And it's like several, like 30,000-40,000 a kilo or something. And I don't know what it's called. And again, it's one of those PubMed things, or we're researching what other things are in the lobster shells that have the value. But until recently, not something that anyone could just extract.
Well, it'd be interesting, how it digests and how it would, enhance the nutrient value of the meat, or you could just get some infused butter and dip it in there. It's not the same thing.
Or not
but
eat the poor lobsters.
Yes, exactly.
I can't help it. It's
So sad. The article.
what to eat to our.
It seems like we're way too. I mean, I know we're the apex predator, but it just seems like you're kind of you're too big of a apex predator if you can do things like, have this discussion about how we're going to get the lobster high and then we're going to kill him and then we're going to eat him. Or it's like at Thanksgiving with turduckens. Like that's when you're stuffing an animal with another type of an animal with another type of an animal. It just seems like your weapons are too advanced and it's not fair anymore.
That's why I do tofurkey, because that's my...
Tofurkey, which is a tofu stuffed with a tofu stuffed into a
with some
turkey
stuffing
mold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
To get this out, I guess I don't have any of your music here fired up, but
No, it's okay.
that it's really impressive if you Google this guy. He's a really talented keyboard player.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent about 10 years of my life on the road in all sorts of rock bands, blues, funk, playing weddings, private parties, and then toured playing dueling pianos on the cruise lines, Norwegian cruise line. I played for a company that's actually in Denver, Howl at the Moon, so they're a chain. And so I played piano and sang for many years doing that before I did the whole grad school thing in Boston, and then now I'm back in Colorado full time.
Awesome. Well, we're very glad to have you.
That's
You've
good
got
to
a
hear.
lot of exciting things going on,
Thank you.
like getting involved with Maven Hemp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm happy to chat on that because that's kind of why we're all here, how we all met through Maven. And Zev Barnett, my business partner and CEO, and I'm COO right now of Maven, started this maybe a year and a half ago, and has just been selling isolates and CBD smoking flower, soft gels, inhalers, which we can showcase and.
So this is cherry wine from, and this is it okay to say when it's from?
No, in California. I mean,
Or no, when?
and the last harvest.
Yeah,
so.
this is from last year's harvest. So, but even saying that, this is beautiful stuff. And if it were possible for you to get close in on it, with that camera,
tight.
like
we
if
have
you
no
could,
smell-o-vision, we can't
Yeah,
see
you
it.
don't
The
have
terpenes will
smell-o-vision, it's a terpy flower, and under what's that called?
A loop,
Under a loop, you can see the trichomes on it. So the nugs are
small but mighty.
yeah, they're small but mighty nugs. I've heard and seen on the internets a lot of stuff recently about cannabis light. They're calling it in Europe.
So funny.
Have you-
Yeah, Switzerland especially too, Croatia, and I mean, again, this is not proven yet, but it's supposedly helping people stop with cessations from smoking tobacco. And
I bet it would be fabulous.
Definitely.
And even like years ago, I saw a white paper using CBD to get folks who were smoking too much THC, even high schoolers who were concerned, addicted to it. They were saying replacing CBD instead of THC was actually helping them stop their THC usage, but not that we're advocating either one. It's just interesting that it helps, and I take it. I don't want to drink as much, or I don't want to smoke as much THC sometimes. I think it's helps with sleep too. I mean, some folks are more sensitive to THC based upon everyone's individual ECS or endocannabinoid system, and we all have different tolerances. 25 milligrams, which is this soft gel pill right here. I take it before I go to bed and I sleep well, but it's too much for some folks and not enough for others.
So this has 25 milligrams of CBD in it.
Yeah, and that's zero THC. It's a
Zero
full,
THC.
It's a broad spectrum oil, so the THC's been removed.
Right.
And then it's diluted with the carrier oil, which is organic hemp oil. Yeah.
Oh, nice. No, and it has the shelf life.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I was under the impression that hemp oil had to be refrigerated.
It's stabilized. I'm not a
Oh.
formulation specialist. I do
Maybe
a lot
it's
of
a
things,
different-
but not.
There's a difference
there's a
between putting
difference.
an oil inside an enclosed thing like they're doing here with these gel caps versus having it in a tincture bottle where you're pulling out olive oil.
Okay.
That's
Well, the hemp oil, I got it like at NoCo, and they just told me to refrigerate it. So I was wondering, because we talked to so many hemp companies, and if that was something, if you wanted to use it, but there is a way to stabilize it.
Yeah.
if
Evidently.
not. I mean, get on it. Somebody figure it
Yeah.
out.
Again, things that I above my pay grade.
Check this out. This is a vaporizer that has
Inhaler, yeah, exactly.
Or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
an inhaler that looks like an albuterol inhaler. It's like, very common like form factor, and it has 0.5 milligrams of CBD
Exactly.
per
50
meter
milligrams per-
dose. In
Exactly. So it's nice. It's gets into your lungs quicker, and you're not smoking it. Again, I can't make claims on it.
Try it?
Go for it. I can't make claims on it because it hasn't been in clinical trials. So I can't tell you, this rate is 10% more than this, but we're excited because we want to try to take some of these and run some small trials in Israel with them.
Oh, nice.
So this has 50 milligrams in the overall thing. So it's got 100, if my math is correct, metered.
Pumps, exactly.
Yeah, metered doses.
Exactly.
0.5 milligrams of CBD per.
And your flavors are vanilla on that one.
We can do a variety of them. We're actually out of this right now. We're going to have to go back and make some more. But custom orders too we can do. But there's a variety of things. Some people want plain, and I don't want to speak too much in the future, but you can combine it with other things to have different mixes and different effect-based therapies. So
nice.
Is it okay to talk about that?
Yeah, I'd
really?
love to.
All right, so check this out.
Yeah, I mean,
it's called Birth Jays. You're an inventor, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And this is my newest product I'm launching hopefully in the next few months, just figuring out some of the final kind of supply chain things and what it is. It's a kind of a joint for your birthday. You can fill it with whatever herbs you want, so you can sell them. I may sell them empty online. You can go to birthjays.com for pre-orders. And it's a candle you light on fire. You're singing happy birthday. You blow it out, and then you take the top off, take the bottom off, and it's a joint that you take with you, so that you can smoke it there, or you can take it as the gift. And it sits in your cake, and it's that's Birth Jays. So it's a.
Tell me that's not the best idea ever. If you don't show up for to your brother's birthday party with this, shame on you. You're not the cool uncle.
I'm like the birthday fairy in the cannabis industry. I like to surprise people with parties.
I think you're going to kill it with that.
I hope so. It's
Birth
fun.
Jays.
I mean,
I think you're going to destroy it.
Gimmicky, but it's also fun. So it's. I mean, whether or not you consume or flower or whatnot, someone who probably does, and if not, as far as I know, everyone who's alive right now has a birthday. I haven't checked that out, but I'm pretty sure there's a day you were born. So that's something that's kind of ubiquitous.
I think we're all a simulation.
I think so, yeah. Oh, fair enough. But so that's another side project. But so been focusing majority of my energy with Maven, and really excited about being able to grow the smoking flower market, the biomass, the end products. We're opening up a store in Parker in the next few months. Just we'll be carrying obviously your products and our products, and just really want to be known for quality and consistency of product. So that's kind of our next step. Right now we're doing a lot more of the wholesale. We do it with gummies and soft gels and kind of you name it, but a lot of stuff isolate and distillate, a lot of zero THC distillate or compliant oil, because that's a big deal now, is to have everything under 0.3%. And with the full spectrum, in a full spectrum, you're going to have a little THC, so they call it a broad spectrum, where you're removing out any trace of THC or less than 0.3%, but you're still having other trace cannabinoids, CBC, CBN, CBG.
Yeah. You're so in addition to that.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. Tell us about the Israel-America Cannabis Alliance Association.
So America-Israel Cannabis Association. Let
me try that again.
Go for it.
America-Israel Cannabis Association.
Correct.
AICA.
Yeah, or ICA for short.
ICA.
And what got me back into cannabis 3 or 4 years ago, because I was in it as a cultivator and as an advocate, and I was playing with extractions about 13 years ago. Someone had brought Big Shake, a bag from California, and I started putting in Everclear, and I evaporated it out and put it into tinctures, and then evaporated out even more and made like a kind of a hash that we called it Buddhist earwax back in the day. And that was in 2006. And I wasn't doing it all the time. I just loved playing with the plant. And so it kind of makes sense that I'm back into full time again. And so I left it, went to grad school, worked in pharmaceuticals, worked in some of the food consulting, and I learned about the endocannabinoid system and the research coming out of Israel. So for those folks that don't know, I feel like I want to be like a public service announcement. Be like, in 1964, THC was discovered by Professor Raphael Mechoulam in Israel, and the story is pretty fascinating with how he went to the police and got like several pounds of Lebanese hash and started playing with it and extracting the oils and isolating the compounds. So that's how THC came to be, and then eventually CBD. And they discovered the endocannabinoid system, I want to say, in the 90s, when they started doing more research on that, and been using CBD for epilepsy, I think, since the 80s. I mean, they've been playing with this. And so when I found out about Israel, I am Jewish, but I'm not. I have some cousins in Israel, but I don't speak Hebrew. But the knowledge base and ability to research the plant in Israel is fascinating. So both Zev and myself have been in Israel several times, and Zev lived there for a little bit back when he was in college. And it's just understanding that they know so much about this plant, and the hard part is getting folks aware of what's going on. As you said earlier, education is so key. If I could explain to people that there's a clinical study with 100 children with autism, and these are the effects across these kids, you get parents providing CBD for their children, and I think that you'd see these remarkable effects. I mean, it's sad to see how stigmatized even CBD is, or how many folks have never heard of CBD. And the other thing about that study was they had some THC in there, which wouldn't fly necessarily in formulations for what we're doing, but there's a therapeutic effect in the combination of the two compounds, and that's only 2 of 113 that we know of. And you were saying earlier, we've heard some folks say even 140 cannabinoids, but
it's more than 100.
Yeah, well, I can agree on that. Can you name? I couldn't name more than probably 25 though right now.
No, I couldn't either. No, definitely not.
So,
but people are going to be growing fields full of hemp that could be, by law, just totally rife with CBGV. Was that what you were saying earlier?
Yeah, and this THCV that's helping with appetite suppression.
Right.
And we have 2.5 acres of hemp growing in the west slope of Colorado, just so we can have some access to really high quality organic biomass. And it's just nice to kind of be able to play in that sector. So we own part of a little farm and have our offices and have the store, and working with you guys. It's kind of a nice community that we're all building, and that's kind of why we're here.
Yeah.
Are you involved in I'm interested in Kansas next year. I keep saying it I want to plant a field of hemp with a crop duster in Kansas in 2019, and then carve a hemp maze into it is the current plan. And get 4-H involved and FFA involved, because it will be an agricultural commodity. So are you doing anything in Kansas? Because
we are not. No, I mean, we're working with farmers in Oregon, Colorado, of course, Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. I'm just thinking of ones I'm actually talking to on a daily basis. So
pretty much all of them. That are
we do.
Anybody who's really doing anything yet.
So even though we have a small farm, we're obviously not major farmers, but we do work with direct to farms to help people source their biomass needs, and it's nice to be able to. That's kind of how we've built our business in the last year and a half, is being able to be consistent. If someone needs a kilo, 2 kilos, 5 kilos, or 10,000 pounds of biomass, and now those customers are growing with us as we're growing. So it's interesting to see how that has kind of changed.
Right.
But it's fascinating to see. I have a video from this morning of a 500,000 plant grow in Kentucky. And
how many acres is that?
They average, I think, was it 2,000 plants per acre? So is that 250? No. Yes. No.
Acres?
Yeah, 250 acres.
So how much CBD does that amount to? This has been a conversation that ongoing at work this week. Is the problem of, let's say that you wanted to make CBD toothpaste and your Colgate, because once the Farm Bill passes, once the Farm Bill passes, then there is absolutely no reason for Colgate to not put out a CBD toothpaste, and CBD could be a very good ingredient for a toothpaste.
Right.
So how many units is that? And we start adding up. You've got, let's say you get into CVS and Walgreens and Rite Aid and Walmart and Costco and Target and maybe 5 more like that, and you've got easily 50,000 stores. And so if each store, if you want to load into that store some new unit, you've got 2 cases probably they would buy. So that's 24 units just to start, and then assume that you at least turn a case a month. You know, they sell out of one case and they rotate that new case forward and they reorder a case and get it in. It adds up really quickly if you wanted to put like
and that's what you hear in you know, on top of having the store, on top of having, you know, our, you know, selling and buying stuff, we do help kind of broker some of these deals. And you hear people talking 16,000, 50,000 kilos of, and that's, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. You're like, well, who has that money? It's not individuals,
right?
It's funds, it's larger, you know, conglomerates that are on the sidelines. You know, obviously, Philip Morris invested $20 million in an Israeli vaporizer company a couple of years ago.
Really?
And there's people on the sidelines, whether it's the CVS's or the Rite Aids or whatever it may be, and they're gonna. I mean, I think they're going to be acquiring a lot of companies and growing them themselves. But if they have brands they can just own, that's where it's, you know, what we're all doing. Branding is so important, as you can tell with Veedverks. You guys really focus on that, and packaging's fantastic. The quality is fantastic, and that's, you know, with Maven, you can see we're looking for quality. We're not going for as playful as birthdays, for example, which is obviously playful.
Yeah.
My intention there was for,
you got to have balance.
True. Yeah, exactly. The yin and the yang of cannabis branding.
I love it. Tell me that's not that's one of the coolest things that
thank you.
I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a high margin product, and it's just fun. It's more going to be something that, like, I want to launch. I want to build the brand, and I have another 15 or 20 products behind there. I just need to launch with one, because, you know, I mean, for those of you who don't play in product manufacturing and IP and patents, it costs a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time, from injection molding to labels to displays. It's lead times and design, and you're spending so much. So it's a lot of fun. But I have other products I'm excited to launch eventually. Right now, though, it's between Maven Hemp, Birthdays, and the association with Israel, I'm pretty booked. But we just hired our first full-time employee at the American Israel Cannabis Association. We hired.
Congrats!
Thank you. Yeah, Sarah Gluck is our
Sarah Gluck.
Sarah Gluck is our COO, and she's doing a great job. And Jeff Zucker's my partner. He I don't know if you know Green Lion Partners, but they own the Dipstick Vaporizer.
Oh, okay.
Which is the Dipper. Yeah. Shout out to them. They're fantastic, good friends of mine, and they make great products. So again, building a network of good people doing great things.
Well, what's the goal, you know, in the next coming years with your organization as far as the United States and Israel?
So, I mean, it's several fold. You can have several arms of that, and so I look at it as like kind of 3 pillars. One is helping to bring in intellectual property and licensing opportunities from Israeli companies into the U.S. 2 is helping them potentially raise money. So we're working potentially on, this is, you know, out of way, so it's not done yet, but a fund potentially working with a larger fund that has an Israel slant that wants to invest in cannabis.
Right.
And 3rd is kind of the medical research side. And that's how kind of Zev and I aligned too with Maven. The one success story we have from the clinical side is there's a company that got rejected for a clinical study on CBD and ALS in Oregon, and I brought them to Israel, and now they're already moving forward.
Wow!
So it's
nice.
I mean, it's baby steps, and
but giant baby steps.
Yeah, I mean, it's
giant baby steps.
Exactly, like jumbo shrimp.
Yeah.
Well, it's a giant thing if you have ALS, or if you have somebody who, if you love somebody who has ALS, it's huge.
It's fantastic. I mean, the research is there, and that's the hard part. I was telling my friend Mara Gordon, she has more research on cannabis and cancer, a lot of preclinical, meaning animal studies and in vitro, like cell studies, and then anecdotal studies of human studies, because there haven't been enough human studies. But in animals, both CBD and THC, depending on where the ailment is, where the cancer is, it's not just helping with nausea, it's actually shrinking tumor sizes. It's creating apoptosis or inducing apoptosis by activating the CD1 and CB2 receptor sites on wherever the cancer is. And I'm not going to go into a molecular biology class right now, although I'd be happy to, because I'm not a scientist. I just like to read and learn about this plant. And so there's the gimmicky side, there's the fun, and I think within what I'm doing, I'm trying to cover all aspects of it, both THC, CBD, medical, research, international, We're just really trying to expose the world and destigmatize cannabis and destigmatize Israel in this, because I really think that the world needs to know that there's a lot of good coming out of there. And
I would say, when I think of Israel and cannabis, I think like Dr. Meshulam and I think world leaders in cannabis. I think like light years ahead in cannabis. And if you do go to PubMed and you search for cannabis, you'll find a ton of Israeli studies that are peer reviewed, and it's old too. I mean, that's what starts to get to you is, this isn't like a bunch of new stuff like this. They've been telling us that there isn't any research about cannabis, and it turns out that's not true at all. And a good chunk of that research is coming out of Israel. So I would want to what's the opposite of destigmatize? I'd own that. I'd be proud of that.
It's just the fact that most folks don't know about that. And so I'm not sure I mentioned this already, but with Meshulam, when we met him last year, and it's like being in front of your favorite rock star. Your favorite is like, oh my gosh, and this guy's like an 87-year-old short little Jewish man from Israel, looks like a grandpa. And I'm like, oh, and it's like his brain, his research, his being so ahead of his time would inspire me to get back in full time and work on the Israel side of it. But he was saying, I think one of his frustrations that he has done this for so long, and like you said, the average person thinks, oh, there's no research. It's like, no, there is, but there's small studies, there's not enough human studies. And if you could take the preclinical studies that are on, we'll call it arthritis, epilepsy, Alzheimer's, and we're seeing it on the fringe. I mean, I wouldn't say the Epidiolex and FDA approval is the fringe, and that's the first plant cannabinoid drug to be approved. And, that's just one isolated cannabinoid. And see what will happen once we start taking that research from Israel and letting people realize that it's legitimate and they don't have to redo these things a million times over because we already have data.
Right.
And probably got patents.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the U.S. government. May I have that marker, Josh?
I think it's like 30,000 or so patents in the last 50 years.
It's over there.
In Israel,
The Sharpie that's got the green tape on it. Sorry about that. I took it over there so you could sign that thing. The U.S. government has a patent on cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants, and it's patent number 6630507. And if you Google it, and if you have somebody who you care about who has Alzheimer's, this patent will piss you off. Because in order to be on Schedule 1, a drug must meet 3 criteria, one of which is that it must have no accepted medical value. And it is impossible, therefore, to have cannabis on Schedule 1. Like, no logical person would be able to reconcile the fact that it is on Schedule 1 because it's got no medical value, and the U.S. government has a patent on it. And that patent is what's standing between you and somebody who you love suffering from, like say the symptoms of Alzheimer's. Yeah. Like this patent pisses me off. And there's a Facebook group, Talk to the 6630507 hand. It was started by Amy Dawn Berlin Hilterbrand, who also started American Medical Refugees. And we love you, Amy. Sorry for that rant, but that just... there is a great deal of research out there. Go to Google and Google PubMed. Go to PubMed and search for cannabis and anything that ails you and see what comes up, because you might be surprised. And a lot of that's coming from Israel.
Exactly. And even that you mentioned Alzheimer's, and like there's a preclinical study in lab animals that is preventing what's called amyloid plaque. It's the buildup of precursor to dementia and Alzheimer's, and that's a joint study with Israel and Germany. And it's just, to me, again, I'm not going to preach on clinical studies because it's not, I've worked in clinical research a little bit, but I also am not a researcher. I'm not a scientist. I just like to read, as I was saying. But we all are here on the same side of the same coin, trying to educate folks. As much as we make awesome, fun products with great branding, at the end of the day, there's a level of medicine that we have to understand that, like, this is trying to help people. Like, I have fun. I'll take CBD every day. I take it preventative, maintenance-wise, like a vitamin C. I'm not going to necessarily see the benefits. Knock on wood, I don't happen to have, arthritis right now or autism that I would really want this, but I just see the benefits of, feeling great, keeping that homeostasis that the endocannabinoid system needs.
take your vitamin CBD.
Exactly.
You was
Every day after eggs and bacon, take your vitamin CBD.
Brought to you in part by Lippert.
there. You go. There you go.
with Thomas Edison. Ding. So we try and think of a new product or a new something that you could make in this industry every show.
Vitamin CBDs. Yeah, I mean, that's,
Vitamin CBDs. Oh, well,
yeah, that exists.
but with Thomas Edison,
That's Edison. There's a trademark on Thomas, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Have to play for that. That's fun. That's great. Yeah. No, it's just.
You know what's beautiful about your organization? I get really excited. I've got a history of community organizing, and cannabis is one thing that brings people together. You know, you think about all your friends and how did you meet them, you know, and you are opening another door into the Jewish community and a chance to open that door and share this information and this knowledge. And that's something that gets, you know, me super excited. Like we've had, you know, different groups here open the door to the Hispanic community. We have Regina Nelson that's trying to get the sign languages updated.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's,
we got to. Do you have those dates written down?
No, I don't have them.
We need to start doing that. This
Yes.
September, oh God, I want to say 19th through 21st is MJ for MDs. And then after that,
October, you mean?
or October,
Yeah,
we should have written this down.
we did. Yeah, but I will repost it.
But also, the event that Regina's doing to, she's doing training for people to
Right.
train them about the endocannabinoid system so that they can go out and spread the word. And she's also bringing in, I think, 15 ASL sign language interpreters who are
Right.
going to go through this training and start developing signs in sign language so that when you go to your doctor and you're talking about THC, you don't have to spell the whole thing out. Endocannabinoids, there's no word for that. And so they're going to work on coming up with some kind of a sign language for it, which I
We've
think is
invited
like
them all
that's
on the show.
that would be fantastic.
Wouldn't it be fun to
Yeah.
have all?
Well, it
and
would
we're
be.
going to
I
have
think it would
sign
be
language
informative.
for
I
that
think
show.
it would be useful.
It will be,
Info.
So there's another community
Yeah.
that we can bring to the table.
Yeah, no,
And-
my mom was a teacher for the deaf.
Really?
Oh,
I mean, she
fun.
worked with all special needs, and so she knows a little sign language. As a kid, she taught us, you know, basic stuff, not THC or any sort of other.
Right. Well, right now the
Cannabinoids.
signal
That's
is
not even
this.
necessary.
You know, I mean,
I just know.
if I had a child with epilepsy, I would
more.
not want to tell my pediatrician, yeah, I dose him. That's
That's
not how
kids.
I do it. I would probably pick up this and go, I dose him, you know, because I would have something like responsible.
And the word, so they do have some languages in sign language, or some symbols or signs in sign language for cannabis, but using cannabis is
Yeah.
right. And what you just said, I realized that because I was looking up, but they need to. Well, I think it's just a really interesting and worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah.
And we fully support that. That's
Great. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. But, you know, like I said, the more communities I see, getting involved in this, that's just more communities we can spread the education and, having leaders in those communities that are being the trailblazers. It's a scary thing to be a cannabis activist and to go, okay, I'm doing this now, and to step up and do that.
Every time we have a technical problem, it occurs to me that maybe it's like getting shut down type of thing. Like our internet went down, like how conveniently it never goes down. But I thought maybe,
And how many shows do we go back and listen to? And we are talking like this.
2 so far. I'm not blaming that on the man yet, but I'm not sure what the deal is with that.
Yeah.
And you think with it's that goes back to a Schedule 1 drug, and again, we're talking about 113 at least cannabinoids, 400 plus terpenes, and they're trying to group it all in as one Schedule 1, this plant. And it's like, imagine taking like a maple tree and be like, well, every single thing in this is a Schedule 1. These like this, and it's just it's so bizarre, but they don't know because they don't have time. They don't educate themselves. They won't research and won't allow research. So it's this kind of catch-22 of what are you going to allow first, or what do you? And I think that with like Tilray's announcement for research in the U.S. and Coca-Cola announcing they're looking at a CBD, and Epidiolex and GW Pharmaceutical, and the Farm Bill, and states coming online with this harvest. This harvest right now is, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 times what last year was grown. It's just wild. There's millions and millions of pounds of hemp coming down to make all these products. And still, I'm not going to even throw out a percentage. I bet 10% of the U.S., 5% of the U.S. has even heard of CBD. I mean, maybe less, maybe 1%. I have no idea. I mean, obviously we're in the circle where we all talk about it, but I think what happens when people actually, when you have a third or half of the country knowing about it and 5% willing to try it or whatever it may be. I mean, like, it's a movement.
Let's make this the Christmas or the Hanukkah that you talk to your grandma about CBD. And better yet, give her a nice CBD gift.
Yeah.
A skin rub, or
let's give her some Amelia.
And then give her some isolate so that she can make you some cookies and she can keep them, and then she can keep making cookies out of them.
There you go. There you go. Thank you for coming
thank you for having
on.
me. This
is so exciting.
It's been great.
I was so charged up, I just couldn't wait, and then I was panicked yesterday when I couldn't reach him. Like, oh no, they got to come on.
No, we're excited. Yeah, I wish Steph could have been here too, but we're just so slammed right now. But it's great.
Come back.
Yeah, we would love to.
Like, I hope. Thanks for everybody who's tuned in, and this is, every now and then. Well, actually, for us, it's pretty regularly. To tell you the truth, meet people who are very knowledgeable about cannabis and just about, I don't know, the fun stuff on product design and packaging, and just the spirit of freeing this plant and ending prohibition and starting a brave new world of businesses. I think it's just fantastic. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys so much.
And I guess we'll sign off, but see you guys soon. In fact, Tuesday at 10:30 Mountain Time, 11:30 Central, Sarah Swain, Democratic Attorney General candidate for Kansas this year, is going to call in, and Michael's going to be gone, so it might be us.
It'd be me. Oh, and tonight, oh my goodness, I can't believe I let this go. Tonight is a meet and greet, but we have Cindy Sovine that's speaking and talking about what's going to be happening this next year, and we also have Phil Kelly.
How does one find out about that? After this, you'll go.
After this,
put
it'll
it in the
be
comments.
all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All over.
Cool. All right. Thanks. See you guys.